Hello my garden friends, and welcome to my Sunday morning backyard garden tour. In today's video I'm also going to include an update on my new bridge garden area, and I have a very special tip of the week that involves hummingbirds, but we'll get to that later. In the meantime, without further ado, let me show you my beautiful garden. My vinca is still going strong. My marigolds are blooming their little flower buds off. The weather here in California is really starting to get warm, so I find myself just coming out into the garden and deadheading them just to keep them looking fresh and lovely. Right below here is my Canterbury bells. It still hasn't bloomed, but another viewer told me she thinks that it blooms as a biennial and it may not bloom this year. But oh well, I'm not giving up hope. My pepper plant has a ton of little flowers on it, so I'm hoping that it produces delicious peppers. My beautiful Supertunia vistas have definitely come back after a hard prune. We have jazzberry, bubblegum, and another jazzberry. My vincas are looking so beautiful. I think I might prune them again, of course. They're starting to look a little leggy, but that's okay because the more I prune them, the more they bounce back. But look at these beautiful pink wave petunias. I couldn't be more pleased. And when the sun comes up, it makes them look like they're glowing. And remember in a past garden tour, I told you that I couldn't wait for my creeping Jenny to reach the bottom? Well, look at my friends. Look at how long they've gotten in just a matter of weeks. All my creeping Jenny just came from one plant. I would break off a piece, stick it in soil, and voila, I have more creeping Jenny. I just can't believe how fast everything grew. My dahlia came back after I cut it all the way back. I thought it was done. I was just gonna kind of get rid of it, but it's looking healthy again. But look it over here in this vintage bathtub. Oh my goodness. My sweet potato vine is creeping all the way through my patio. Just from last week's garden tour, it must have grown another couple of feet. Is that possible? I mean, look at it. It has to be possible. My beautiful Supertunia Vista bubblegum is blooming. Don't you just love the pink with the chartreuse green colors? And then the orange popping out from the lantana. Absolutely stunning. And the sweet potato vine is even sending out more shoots over here. But before we go to the back of my garden, let me finish showing you everything over here. More vinca growing in these pots. I really like growing vinca in pots better than in the ground. In my opinion, I feel like I can just control the water a lot better. And over here we have my cute little cottage garden. Because my garden is so small, I create everything on a smaller scale. And right above my cottage garden, look at my friends, my crepe myrtle tree. This is my third crepe myrtle tree. This one is blooming now. This crepe myrtle is called a Zuni, Z-U-N-I. And it's so crazy how I have 3 crepe myrtles, but they all kind of bloom at different times in the same month, but at different times. And a lot of people don't know this about crepe myrtle trees. And no, this isn't my tip of the week. This is just something I want to tell you. All crepe myrtle trees are not created equal. What I mean by that is crepe myrtles, the different colors, they grow to different heights. And you see, I didn't know that. I thought all crepe myrtles, like the white Natchez, grew to about 30 feet tall. So when I picked this crepe myrtle tree out, I absolutely love the color of the blooms. I thought it was going to grow 30 feet, and when I found out the Zuni only grows about 9 to 12 feet, well, I was a little disappointed because I wanted a bigger tree here, but oh well, that's how we learn in the garden, right? That is how we learn. But oh well. This is Freya the farmer, part of my scarecrow garden. And she's sitting on that haystack with Lottie the lamb and Petunia the pig. Thank you to all my viewers who helped me name her. However, I am struggling with the vines growing up the arbor. My dream and vision and idea for this area was to have 2 black-eyed Susan vines, also known as Thunbergia, growing all the way up. They're just so fun and cartoony and colorful. However, they didn't make it. They are crispy and I have no idea why. We win some, we lose some. So I'm going to plant something different up here. I'm not quite sure. This area doesn't get 100% full sun, kind of like part of the day. So maybe a star jasmine because that's always green, or maybe I'll just leave it to annuals like sweet peas like I had in the spring. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a little update. The black-eyed Susan vines didn't make it. However, my little cottage garden area has never looked more beautiful. I did end up taking out the vinca from those stacked planters, and I love the orange and yellow pops of color. I have to water my garden every single day in the summer heat, but that's okay. It allows me a chance to come out into the garden and kind of evaluate everything and see what's going on and pull weeds as I'm watering. And this is a beautiful Martha Washington geranium. I like them so much better than the generic geraniums. I don't know, there's just something about the pretty little flowers. They're smaller and more abundant. And I just like the leaf structure better. Do you also feel that geraniums kind of smell pungenty or a little bit odd? I don't know. If you've never grown a Martha Washington, I highly recommend it. I think you would like it too. And I have a couple of those teddy bear sunflowers that are popping up. And behind my cottage garden, I have a couple doors. I am planning on putting another door behind Freya the farmer, but it's not ready yet. This door my granddaughter painted. We call it the party cake door. John calls it the Skittle door. She just put her hands in paint and stuck them on there, and we had a very good time. And I know a lot of you have been asking me where I bought these little scalloped bricks. Those are just sawed off from those larger pink landscaping bricks, and I made the little scallops myself. Just kind of wanted to give it a little whimsical, cottagey garden feel. And over here, let me show you the progress on my bridge garden area. Last week, John and I assembled the bridge together. And I did get some stepping stones. I actually found them at the canal. They were being thrown away. But look at my friends, I already dug out the area for the dry creek. So this is coming along nicely. I am making a video that will show all the progress, but I just kind of wanted to show you how it's doing. And I love this little bridge because my grandchildren will be able to walk across it. Now let me take you to the back of my garden and show you my beautiful zinnias. In my opinion, I feel it's so rewarding when you grow things from seed. And the one thing I love about zinnias is they're so interesting looking. Like you'll have flowers growing on top of flowers, or I should say petals growing on top of petals. I have a grapevine growing up the arbor. And right over there, my Miss Figgy dwarf fig tree, yes, that's a dwarf, is producing so much fruit. And this is my little fairy garden where I let my grandchildren decorate it with all the Dollar Tree decorations. I have beautiful vinca growing underneath the Japanese maple tree, some impatiens underneath the chair, a bottle tree, and more volunteer sunflowers. And I paint all my doors myself. Right next to my fairy garden is my succulent propagation station, where I propagate succulents and experiment with the leaves and the cacti. And I keep succulents over there because of the lighting. It gets all morning sun, and then they're shaded from the afternoon, which they love. So that's where I just kind of group together all of my succulents. And over here, I have beautiful lily turf, some agapanthus, and those are under my white Natchez crepe myrtle tree, which is blooming again. I cannot believe this thing flushes out like 3 times in a season. Most crepe myrtle trees put on a big show and then that's it. Well, this is doing it again, and the carpenter bees absolutely love it. I think it makes a nice little frame to my water fountain garden. Can you believe this is only the 2nd year for this crepe myrtle tree? This one's going to get massive, and right behind it is my dynamite red crepe myrtle tree. Over here is my Gara, which isn't blooming right now. I actually cut it all back. The shoots were done blooming, so I kind of deadheaded it. I'm hoping that it blooms again. A little miniature rose that I got at the floral department at a grocery store that I used to work at. That's becoming quite big and beautiful. My Supertunia Vista bubblegum right over there that I also gave a haircut, and it's coming back. I love how everything, after you prune them and cut them back, they come back so beautiful and abundantly. You know, there's a Bible scripture that says, God says He'll make everything new again, and it's a promise, and it's true, because look how beautiful everything is after you cut them back and they grow anew again. My gilded sun rose in the center of that veggie box is blooming again. It's just so pretty to be out in the garden early in the morning. Inside the center is a pink cordyline. I love the way the leaves all look together, the different textures and shapes and shades of green and blue. So much variety without having any flowers. And now for today's garden tip, I'm going to show you how I keep all the ants off my hummingbird feeders. Let's face it, this time of year, the ants are hungry for that sugar, and they always seem to find a way to get in the feeders. Most hummingbird feeders come with this top. It's called an ant guard, and you're supposed to fill it with water and it keeps the ants away. But the problem with that is they're so small. The water evaporates in just an hour. And also you can buy big ant guards, but those don't work either because the water evaporates and somehow the ants find their way back in the feeder. Yep, Vaseline really works. What I do is, now if I were to just gob the Vaseline on the shepherd's hook like that, yeah, that would discourage the ants from climbing up it, but what happens is in the summertime, this is going to get heat and it's going to melt. So that's only going to work for maybe a couple of days. I like to gob it right on top, right above the water guard. And what happens is, if this does melt from the sun, that's okay, because it's going to go right inside the little water guard anyway, and if it spreads out, that's even better. So I noticed since I've been putting Vaseline right above the water guard, I don't see any ants on this feeder, and all summer this feeder kept getting attacked with ants. I had to keep taking it down and cleaning it, seemed like every day. And then I reapply more Vaseline about once a week. You want to change your hummingbird feeders nectar once a week anyway, because what happens in the summertime is it ferments and then it just becomes kind of toxic for the hummingbirds. So when you change your hummingbird feeder once a week, at least once a week, then that's when you can reapply the Vaseline. See, look at that. It's been about 5 days, so I obviously need to change the nectar, but there's not one ant on this feeder. If you have any tricks or tips to keep ants off hummingbird feeders, I would love to hear. Please leave a comment in the comment section below. I love learning new things and sharing them with all of my viewers. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's garden tour, and I hope you have a beautiful day in your garden too. Thanks for watching.